Starting. Hi. Hi, everyone. Just
We're
kidding.
back.
There's no one there yet.
Right? Right? Like, where are they?
I want to see one person. I want to see one person right now say hello, you son of a bitch. Dude, if no one... hey, Michael Whittingham. Hey, Xer. What's up, John Alt? Everybody I went to high school with. Oh, now it's too many people.
Right?
I'm nervous.
Performance anxiety.
The KJ from OC podcast is brought to you by Chloroseptic. Because I'm sick.
He said, product placement, using the product.
Tastes like cherries.
And now we can't talk. Podcast over. Right?
I think they love the title. Why are you guys so excited to watch this one?
I know, I'm like, like that whole moment when. You know.
Oh, man. So, first of all, I have to say rest in peace to Bobby the Brain Heenan. If you grew up watching wrestling like I did, that guy has had like jaw cancer, throat cancer for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, his voice like was shot to shit. It was like slowly declining, and then eventually he looked like you remember the dude from Siskel and Ebert? It was Roger Ebert.
Yeah, when he passed.
Same kind of thing. Same kind of thing.
I call it the lollipop syndrome, when like your body just shrivels up and you're just a hand.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Not to making fun of him, but
no, I hear you. Yeah. Hi Christina. We can use sandwiches and maybe water. Thank you. I could use some water because I'm sick. Alcohol content. Katie asked for the alcohol content on this. I don't know.
It has to be like a percentage of the
phenol, 1.4%.
That's not enough, people. That's not enough. And don't look at my pants because when he gets up, we're dressed exactly alike. And
this is why we're twins. This is why we're twins. See, look,
like literally black hat, gray sweats, and black shirt.
Unbelievable. Oh boy, are you leaving me?
I'm going to get you drink water.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. He's going to get me kick. She said kick rock. Wow. What a bizzle. What a bizzle. Don't worry, we're starting in like 2 seconds. I just got to get some water because I'm super thirsty. How you guys doing out there? Hi, Willie. Hi, everybody. Don't drop off. Get back on here. Do you guys ever use Chloroseptic? It's the #1 pharmacist recommended phenol sore throat. It works on contact. It relieves the sore throat. Easy to control. It's sugar free. Tastes like cherries. I know it's like backwards. You can't really read it, but it's not bad. Ooh, we get drank.
Okay, it's filtered water, not tap. You're good, bro.
Thank you. My throat is like numb right now.
Katie told me Perrier. You want that?
Katie told me to get the good stuff.
Kind of fruity.
Make it more interesting.
And some Trader Joe's sparkling water. All kind of product placement today.
Goodness. And the California Angels and Superman. Brought to you by the Major League Baseball and DC Comics.
And Superman socks, but you don't want to see those apples in them.
And I'm not wearing any socks and I don't have lotion. And we know black people need lotion. But we also know Black Lives Matter.
No, but do they?
They do, or they're supposed to. And the reason I made the title the way I made it was, one, to get people to chime in. Clickbait. And number two, I was having a discussion the other day in this wrestling group, okay? On Fox News within the last year, there's this wrestler named Tyrus. He wrestles in another company, not WWE, but TNA. Well, it's also called Global Force, not just like tits and ass. Total nonstop action.
I'm like, did that just go over everyone's head? Did that just fly right over?
Sometimes. And he was on Fox News within, like I said, like the last year, and he said he had a T-shirt that said "My Life Matters," and it was like a picture of his brain behind the words "My Life." So it's almost like you're kind of talking shit, right? And so as he kind of goes into it, he says, he gives some random statistic, right? Like 90% of, every situation you see where a black guy's getting shot by a cop or roughed up or whatever, they're making it worse for themselves and they're doing this and they're doing that. But there's a thing called police brutality. So no matter what a suspect, whatever the suspect is suspected of doing, there's still a protocol that a cop has to follow, regardless, which is why there end up being lawsuits that follow, arrests or murders or killings or whatever you want to call them. And so in this whole thing, this guy Tyrus goes on this rant, basically just saying, if a cop is, violating your civil rights, then you just do what I would do and just sue him later, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, this guy's giving all the answers for people who have money.
100%. Justice system is not about justice; it's about green.
Yeah, like what about people who don't have money?
Yeah.
If you work $10 an hour and a cop beats your ass, and there's no lawyers in your area that are going to go on contingency, well, what's your option?
Yeah.
So you're speaking to the general public, but this doesn't affect the general public.
Yeah.
It's affecting specifically black people in poor areas. This, as far as getting beat and stuff like that. So it was just one of those things. I was just like, what are you talking about? So I had to kind of go in on that, and then people are going in on me, and I'm like, wait a second, guys. The whole point of Black Lives Matter, as far as the very beginning, was to just say, when it comes to police killing people, can we? Oh, thank you. Can we at least hold them legitimately accountable? Because if you're going to pay somebody out afterwards, then that means there's some kind of responsibility before that case even got finished from before.
Exactly.
So how do you have one saying, well, we'll pay you some money, but we're not going to send the cop to prison? I don't understand how that works. And maybe it's just because I'm not a lawyer, but maybe it's also because there's some shady shit going on.
Lawyers, chime in, please.
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 Yes, please.
That's a very great question.
And so, continuing on, oh, hi, Megan. I had to, and hello, Colette. I had to say kind of to myself, like, I wish Black Lives Matter didn't exist, not because you're doing anything bad, but because if they didn't exist, that means we wouldn't have these problems. That's how I'm looking at it from that perspective. Not just like we're going to ignore these problems, but from the perspective of we've worked on stuff and we've actually addressed things and things have gotten better, and now we don't have to have Black Lives Matter exist, and we can do an All Lives Matter, because that would be great. But it wouldn't be great from the perspective of it's affecting other people as well, because I don't want this thing happening to Latino people, Asian people, white people, men, women. I don't want it happening. Well, I do want it to happen to skinheads, because skinheads. But
Twice. With the rusty hammer.
But as far as everyone else in the country, like, constitutionally, like, the cops are not the judge and the jury and the executioner, but they're pretending to be that.
Yeah.
And then people are backing them up for it, even though they know that's not the way to follow through.
Yeah.
And then you have the money that follows through. Like, when I did one of my podcasts last year, I talked about how over the course of
Black Lives Matter or bust.
over like 10 different cities over 10 years, typically, like over $1 billion. It was like Chicago, LA, I think a city in New York, Miami, like all these different cities, like major cities, and over $1 billion Oakland had been spent on payouts from police brutality and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, wait a second, if that's what's happening, maybe we should spend the money wisely and stop killing people and start training officers better. Because why is it other countries can do this and not have a high number of inmates in the prison system?
Yeah.
But we don't really see it that way, unfortunately, in this country. But I wish we could see it that way, so that... Oh, that's my co-host. Hi, Ashley. So that...
Thank you, Ashley. I'm not taking your place, so thank you.
She'll be back next week.
Allow me to fill in.
So that we actually can have like some harmony in this country, right? And we're not just picking people off the streets because we think that they did some kind of crime, throw them in jail, and they don't have the money to get out, and now they're sitting in jail for three months because they're waiting for their trial.
Yeah.
The trial for a trumped up charge of really nothing.
Case in point, like the new documentary I saw, the Khalif Browder story.
Mm-hmm.
I watched that the other day, and it's like a 3 or 4 part series. Executive produced by Jay-Z or whatever. Like he, I guess, put the money up for it.
Yeah.
But that whole thing, like, it literally had me in tears from the first episode to the very last.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in legitimate tears.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about money. He sat in jail for 3 years because his family couldn't afford a $900 bail.
Mm. And what was he even arrested for?
He got arrested. He got picked up for being accused of stealing a backpack. A backpack from another student. And the student who called the police and said someone stole his backpack lied 3 times in the matter of him being picked up to him going to jail. He said, "Oh, well, he didn't steal my backpack today. He stole it 2 weeks ago." Well, he didn't steal it. It was him and his friend. They both stole it. Oh, no, it was just one person. The story changed so many times. And the cop abused the situation, didn't take the statement correctly. The statement was wrong. The time was wrong. Where he was wrong. They said it was 3 o'clock in the morning, which is really 12 midnight. It was so many things wrong with the story. And he ended up sitting in jail for 3 years because his family couldn't afford bail. You know. So, and then he ended up taking his life because he just didn't want to go back to jail. So, that's a good documentary to watch. A very, very good documentary.
And Steve Bennett just had a comment, and I totally just missed it. And I'm sorry, I got to go back and take a look at it.
He said maybe the way their culture manifests in that foreign to America, nations look different. Yeah.
I think in regard to why other countries don't have the same kind of prison input that we have.
That's an easy one if I can chime in on it.
Go ahead.
It could be one-sided, but our prison system doesn't stem from, a criminal environment or, a society of criminals. Our police and judicial system is based around escaped slaves. Mm-hmm. It hasn't changed since the 1800s, since 1720 and on.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed since then. The bounties, the slave catchers, all of that, that's where our justice system stemmed from. Before that, we had a legitimate system of dealing with the criminal element in our nature. You went to trial. You were guilty till proven innocent. Like that's how the core society that wasn't considered 3/5 of a man, 3/5 of a human, were treated. You're guilty till proven innocent. You got your day in court. You got your say in court. The onus was on the prosecution to prove you guilty. But in this society that we live in now, that is directly linked to the slave trade, linked to emancipation, linked to the prison industrial complex we live in now. All comes from slavery, slave catching, putting people in prison systems to pay for the basically slave labor. That whole license plate making thing, cracking roads, building railroads. All of that was built on the backs of slave labor. When slave labor went away, it was built on the backs of the prison system. You weren't able to read and write. You weren't able to read those sharecropper contracts. You violated laws because you couldn't read traffic signs because you didn't know how to read, and you tried to integrate into society. Then they were able to put you back in the prison system and say, "Look, you violated this law. Mm-hmm. You touched that white woman or you whistled at her, like you go to jail." Okay, now how did they get
Emmett Till?
Yeah,
he didn't go to jail. They killed him.
Well, they killed him, but even up until the 1900s, Emmett Till is the same thing. Yeah. You violated this, you go to jail. You don't pay this money back, you go to jail. You cook on a Sunday, you go to jail. Mm-hmm. Like the laws in certain states.
Loitering, that was one. That was from the 13th. Eric and I, Eric's watching right now. Eric and I watched that last year, and that was one thing that people were getting arrested for was loitering. Like loitering now is just like, all right, guys, get out of here.
Yeah. Think about that. And think about that. That's why I always champion, we talk about this a lot, champion our laws have to be completely broken down and redone to fit a society. We're based on laws in the government system that's a moving beast. It's like an AI that just took over and got a brain and is moving itself. Too big to fail, too big to whatever you want to call that. But it has a life of its own. Mm-hmm. Those laws were from the 1800s. Yeah. Bro, we have to change that. Like, it's asinine how we still go off of the whole public defender thing. How you go to jail and you're not able to afford law, but they look at your financials and then they give you a bail based on your financial state.
Yeah, that's
just out of reach. Oh, you got a $30,000 bail? Okay, now you're gonna have to go to a bail bondsman to pay them, put up your house, your car, your 401k. We need $3,000 from you to get out of jail. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, you got $3,000. You have to cough up money from all of your family members to pay for you to get out of jail. And then they'll say, look, bro, like, you're going to have to stand there. Like, your trial is when? You have a right to a speedy trial. Okay. Your trial is set 2 years from now.
Yeah. How's that speedy?
How's that speedy? Then when you go to trial, they're like, oh, your crime only comes with a mandatory sentence of 9 months. Time served. You're good to go. All right. Thank you. You can go. You served your time. Oh, but now you're on probation. So that whole system is basically so outdated, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Obama did good with doing away with solitary confinement for minors, but there's so much more that has to come after that.
I think so too, and I think it starts with the 13th Amendment.
Yeah.
Because once you allow for people to become slaves, again, whether it's black, white, Latino, Asian,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
You're basically redoing what we got rid of, 100-something years ago. Almost 20. God, was that almost 200? Yeah, about 150.
Yeah, because look, think about it like this: you got a victimless crime, which the whole drug game, everybody watches movies, but you kill and this and that. Like, okay, a normal drug dealer in the United States is the most boring thing in the world. That's why there are no reality shows for drug dealers. Yeah. It's boring. You wake up, sell a couple, dime bags or whatever. You make some money. You go watch. You go play Xbox. Go watch TV. You go to bed, and you do it all over again.
Yeah.
You work at McDonald's. You sell a little weed on the side. Like, that's drug dealers have the most boring life.
Yeah.
It's
the regular people.
It's a victimless crime, and then you put them in a prison population, and then you turn them into criminals by what you do to them, like integration, the whole getting with the program thing. You integrate them, and then like Christina said, it's called a justice system when it's anything but. But the biggest ironic kicker is the fact that we call it the DOC, the Department of Corrections. So you put somebody in jail for a victimless crime, and then you say we got to correct your behavior.
Yeah. Corrections
officer, Department of Corrections.
I wanted to be a corrections officer for a long time.
A lot of it, I thought that was, everybody said so much money you can make by doing that. And I'm thinking I can do something for society. I can be in there with those young brothers and show them,
That was exactly what I wanted to do too.
Exactly. Then I'm like, I watched The Wire, and I'm like, maybe I don't want to get stabbed or shanked by an inmate. Maybe
not worth it.
It's not
to save you young.
Not worth that $18.50 an hour.
No.
Maybe not.
With that overtime. Oh my God. Yeah, and then living all the way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
But no, that whole thing, like you were saying, it just all stems from our justice system has to be changed. The laws in America has to be changed. Cops training is a small part of it, but it's a very large part of it because cops, when they get trained, they stand up. Their eyes are open to okay. Like I have friends who went to school to be cops when I was younger, and that's all they wanted to do. Like, that's what they wanted to do with their life. And then I know for a fact they take communication classes and sociology classes. Think about that. Like, you have to learn how to deal with human beings. Right. And what we're seeing is either blatant, deliberate, or it's just I can get away with it,
I think it's a lot of what it is because, I can't say. But anyway.
If you go to school for criminal justice, you have to take sociology and communication classes. You have to learn how to deal with all walks of life and all people. I know that for a fact.
We do that too in my program at my school, which is unnamed, but because I'm not promoting nothing, I'm not getting in trouble for nothing.
Right.
But
that place
we had to take a class about different ethnicities and just how to not deal with people, but just how to understand that people come from different walks of life and think that just because someone lives in America doesn't mean that they do things the quote-unquote American way. They may have just gotten here. They may have just become a citizen. They may not even be a citizen, But still, you know, even if they're your client, you still have to treat them a certain way, whether they're a citizen or not. You can't treat them like, well, you need to get out of our country. No, that's your client. You need to do your job, because you could be sued whether, you know, they're a member of the country or not. And one of the things I saw the other day, I've seen it a few times, and I posted it, I think, just yesterday, was this video of the mother of all Trump rallies. Have you heard of this? You saw this,
Yeah,
right?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, which is so funny, because there was, like, as many people at this Trump rally as there are in this garage. Not very many. And which is also funny, and I don't think it has anything to do with Trump this time, but I know he does like to do Trump rallies, but
he campaigns after he's already won the election, which should tell you a lot. Like,
that's
it's weird.
Really,
it's weird.
Really into yourself. Trying to get people on your side, like you're no one likes you, bro. Just let it go. Anyway,
that approval rating though.
Seriously, lower than my blood pressure when I'm sleeping. I don't know what that means.
Sounds good though. We'll ride with it. We'll go with it. Sounds good.
Lower than the IQ of those who voted for him. How about that? No? All right, never mind. Anyway. So, no, Megan, you can't co-host. I'll bring the wine. That's hilarious. So this video of this mother of all Trump rallies or whatever, Black Lives Matter supporters, and here's the thing. Since there is no card-carrying member of Black Lives Matter, you really don't know who is and who is not, right?
They're getting organized, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, like I could say I'm Black Lives Matter, or someone could say I'm Black Lives Matter, but how do you know I am? I just, because I support it? It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. I was kidding, Megan. Stop crying. So they're on the outside and they're protesting, you know, this Trump rally, whatever. And one of the people who's, I guess, hosting the Trump rally, at first he was telling, you know, the crowd, hey, just ignore them and they'll go away or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's closed off and they have their thing. It's closed off. And eventually they said, you know what, we're going to let Black Lives Matter come up here. So I want to play this video, and we're going to talk about it, obviously, and talk about the lady. The one lady?
Yeah, let's talk about her.
Yeah, we're going to talk about her ass.
Yeah.
She crazy as hell.
You just put the volume on?
I'm going to turn it around.
Okay.
Let's see.
It's about freedom of speech. It's about celebration. So what we are going to do is something you're not used to, and we're going to give you 2 minutes of our platform.
Dosh said his approval rating was going up.
Now, whether they
right.
disagree or agree with your message is irrelevant. It's the fact that you have the right to have the message. I am an American. And the beauty of America is that when you see something broke in your country, you can mobilize to fix it. So you ask why there's a Black Lives Matter? Because you can watch a black man die and be choked to death on television and nothing happens. We need to address that.
That was a criminal. He's talking about all of the incidents and she just generalizes.
We are anti-bad cop.
She said, no, you're not. No, you're not.
If a cop is bad, he needs to get fired like a bad plumber, like a bad lawyer, like a bad fucking politician. We don't want handouts.
Right.
We don't want anything to show us. We want our God-given right to freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah. Now she's clapping now.
I'm gonna leave you with this and I'm gone. You're right, my brother. You're right. You are so right. All lives matter, right? But when a black life is lost, we get no justice. That's why we say Black Lives Matter. That's why we say it.
What about black and black crime?
If we really want to make America great, we do it together. my faith in some of those people.
So there's the one lady who obviously got on my damn nerves.
We have to talk about her.
Oh my god. I actually thought maybe she was drunk, which is, we were talking about this before the show started. If she's drunk, she still represents sober thinking for people. We can't be hitting love on it. That's so funny.
On what you said, I can't do that. Hey.
She still represents sober thinking for people who I encountered last year, who my entire page encountered last year. If you guys remember, if you guys don't remember, whatever, I'm sure you guys can go back and look. But no matter how much I brought up, Black Lives Matter or cops killing black people and getting away with it, it was always, well, what about black on black crime? Which is a distraction and a detraction and just a different topic. It's deflection, right? It's a new topic. And people didn't realize that. They thought, this song is whack as hell.
Well, he's kind of whack, so.
God, that song was horrible. Is that Catch Me Outside girl? Anyway.
I don't, you know? I don't know.
But yeah, it's a distraction and it's a deflection to another topic that they don't really want to talk about. Because they don't want to talk about cops killing people and getting away with it. Because if cops are killing people and getting away with it, then that means something's wrong with the justice system in America. Yeah. The America that you love. And if you love America so much and these things are happening, maybe there's a problem with what you see and how you even process what you see. So this lady who says he was a criminal, that guy didn't point out any specific person. He didn't say, Jamal
Eric Garner or whatever.
Right.
He didn't use a name.
He didn't use a name. She just said he was a criminal. Who was a criminal? Or are you thinking all black people are criminals? But if she, like I said, if she's drunk, she still has the same thoughts as those who are sober who said the same things. Or what about black on black crime? First of all, do you care about black on black crime? Because if you do, what are you doing about it? Does that even affect your neighborhood? Or are you just saying that as another deflection? Another thing to say, hey, let's talk about something else, right? I don't want to talk about cops killing people and getting away with it because that hurts my heart. It's America, right? Blue Lives Matter, back the blue and all those kind of hashtags, right? And so when you say,
Dosh said he's different though. This guy's obviously educated. He's not one of those Black Lives Matter people, but he did introduce himself as the president of Black Lives Matter New York.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so they can't hide that.
Yeah,
they can't hide that at all.
I couldn't remember what his thing was or what he was, but okay. That
was just saying they can't hide behind that whole deflection of black on black crime.
Yeah. But yeah, back to this lady. She just really pissed me off because it's so disrespectful. I mean, yeah, you can disagree, and obviously you can boo and all that kind of stuff. But it was just one of those things like you don't even realize what you're saying, and that you're missing the whole point. I know he spoke their language and said, I'm an American, and the way you fight in America, if something's wrong, you fix it.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about Black Lives Matter, and they started booing.
Yeah.
We started talking about, bad cops deserve to be fired like bad politicians, bad plumbers, bad lawyers, right? Yeah. And then they got back on his side because he had to speak their language, which sucks.
Yeah, bad politicians,
he shouldn't have to dumb it down or pander to the audience in order to get them to listen. He should just be able to say, hey, this is happening, and it's happening to us, and we'd like your support. That should be what it is, but unfortunately that's not what it is. And so that's why we have Black Lives Matter, but we could have an All Lives Matter if Black Lives actually mattered, which then meant we could be done with Black Lives Matter and move on to the next thing. But because of the way the jail system is, and people like Khalif Browder, people like Eric Garner, people like Tamir Rice, where the cops say, oh, he had a gun, so we just pulled up and killed him. Yeah, how many times have cops come to somewhere, seen a gun, and told someone, hey, put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down? A lot of times.
We can just kill that right now, the whole Montana standoff.
Oh, my God, yeah. I posted that earlier this year.
Yeah, and that's like, okay, that just killed all the noise. Mm-hmm. If you can have 40 people pull guns out on police and nothing happened, no one dies, no one gets killed. Oh, and they return fire at the police. Police didn't return fire back the second time. And then no one dies, the police doesn't shoot anyone. So.
Yeah. But yet, a 14-year-old kid is a bigger threat than an entire group of people.
No.
Maybe it's just more of you can get away with it faster.
Yeah.
And Dasha brings up a good point. How come Blue Lives Matter didn't exist until Black Lives Matter did? It's another deflection, another way to get away from the topic of Black lives actually mattering. And it's unfortunate that people, still support Blue Lives Matter without realizing that they're actually supporting white supremacy. I have a friend of mine who I love dearly, but she supports Blue Lives Matter, and I'm just like, how can you, when it's obvious that they came out after Black Lives Matter as a way to say, hey, shut up. And she's like, well, not all cops are like that. I'm like, I get it. But what about those cops who...
That Blue Lives Matter, there's a blue line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a blue line for them to hide behind.
Yeah. And she said that they do get reprimanded or they do get consequences. I'm like, well, what? Like, killing someone and losing your job, yeah, that shouldn't be the best we could do.
No.
You should be able to go to prison for that. I know the guy who killed Oscar Grant got like a couple years, but that's nothing.
But a high-power lawyer and a year of protest and an investigation that probably cost the city more than it should have cost.
Yeah.
To investigate that.
Just so a cop cannot go to prison. Is this cop worth that much to you, or is it what the cop represents, which is my thinking? It's what the cop represents, which is the entire justice system. So if you start, prosecuting cops like that and sending them to prison, then that means other cops are going to start having to go to prison too.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. It's a very good point.
Yeah. I guess we're done with that topic. Next topic.
We can beat it to death, but...
Yeah.
Let's not.
22 hours ago, I posted a meme that I stole from a buddy of mine, and I really wanted to get people's take on this, and I'm going to show you guys what I posted. It's this meme right here. Colin Kaepernick. What does it say? This is disrespectful to these guys, but this is not disrespect, but this is okay for these guys. So the point was, people who complained about Colin Kaepernick were a lot more vocal about him than they were about the Nazis having the right for free speech. Because when it came to the Nazis in Charlottesville, it was always about, hey, it's just free speech. Let them say what they need to say.
Disturbing.
Right.
Disturbing.
I'm like, how can you just sit there and say Nazis deserve free speech? Yeah, I get it under the Constitution, sure. Unless it's hate speech, right? If it's hate speech, no. And I think if you're calling for a genocide, I think just as a human being, why would you want someone to why would you allow someone to, we've punched people for less in bars.
Yeah.
Dude, you bumped me and stepped on my shoe. I'm fucking you up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said I was sorry. Fuck that. You're going down.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So, you're okay with, or even backed up, people who were Nazis and Klan members and said, hey, let them say what they need to say, even if it meant the genocide of me and Jewish people and all minorities and gay people and the whole everybody, right?
Yeah.
But when it came to Kaepernick, it was like, man, that guy needs to get shut down. Really? Why? Quiet on the bench, chilling.
Lake Forest Ghetto, bro. No, I'm just no, but he's right though. Like, you think about it, like, people still to this day in 2017, but it's free speech. And then I had to pose a question, like, this is the real question that we need to, sleep on at night. If ISIS terrorist cell came and applied for
bing, bing, bing.
a permit to demonstrate in New York City at Times Square, are they going to get approved for a permit? That's the question.
On the Twin Towers, where the Twin Towers were, if ISIS came by and said, hey, we want to demonstrate. Yep.
Are they going to get a permit? It's like, well, it's free speech. It's the nature. Yeah, the nature. They're carrying a Nazi flag that represents Nazi Germany, that represents the 25th Point Prince program, that represents eugenics, that represents massacre, that represents all of that, that represents a pure race, that represents extermination of everybody not of the Aryan race, which in 2017, I don't think nobody's really pure anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I'm making sure of that shit. I don't see nothing wrong.
Love, unity, right? The 60s, all over again. No. But seriously, think about that. Think about it all together. ISIS cannot nasty.
Shut up, Christina.
ISIS can't get a permit. So why is a homegrown domestic terrorist group able to file for a permit? Mm-hmm. And somebody said on your page earlier that, well, they applied for a permit, so, because of free speech permit. But America recognized them as a terrorist group.
Yeah.
Can we see how that makes no sense?
And now we see why Jamel Hill called Donald Trump a white supremacist, because, well, there's that on both sides. And this is the same kind of thinking that people say, well, ISIS shouldn't get one, but the Nazis should.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, no, I had a conversation. We'll leave names out of it because it's ruined our relationship. And I don't care if he's watching because he knows my feelings on anyway.
Is he a Facebook friend of mine?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No. He's a Facebook friend of Dosh, Christina, and everybody else.
Well, you ain't shit whoever you are.
His thought, he made a comment on Facebook that says that the Black Panthers and the KKK were the same organization.
False.
That they produce hate and all this other stuff, and Malcolm X was basically the father of the Black Panthers, and he produced all this hate, and there's no different than the KKK. And I told him, produce one person that the Black Panther Party killed. Show me one person the Black Panther Party killed. Hung, dragged, beaten, burned crosses in front of the yard. Person.
They killed cops. Dirty cops that were killed.
And in the defense. Mm-hmm. They were planting drugs on them, breaking into their homes. Basically, those cops need a restraining order. Not that that means I'm being funny, around here. But harassing them, sitting outside of their home. Inside of their places of business, harassing them. And yes, they defended themselves. But it was all the fact that it's the letter of the law. That wasn't a hate group. But the KKK has a body count in the thousands, probably hundreds of thousands.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Hundreds of thousands.
Mm-hmm.
And we just okay, it's okay. They can get a permit, fine. You represent a group that's registered as a, whatever. What would you register a Nazi, neo-Nazi as a business, a full 503c nonprofit organization? I don't get it. But
definitely not an educated group.
No.
Yeah. Well, they are something else. Black Panthers in a community group feeding kids breakfast. Yep, that's true.
If it wasn't for the Black Panther Party, we wouldn't have free lunch across the United States in any school.
Shit, I might not even be here.
Right?
You might not even be here. I know you're Chicago, but still.
No, that's where it started.
Oh, well, there it is.
It started in the Midwest.
I thought it started in the Bay.
Well, it started in the Bay, but the Chicago group actually followed suit right away. Okay. With the free lunch program.
Yeah.
I ate off of that. If it wasn't for them doing that, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, I actually deleted somebody. It's my godson's, my oldest godson, his uncle, when I posted something about the Black Panthers last year, and he said, the Black Panthers are the new KKK. This is the same guy. This is the same guy that made a comment to his own nephew, who's black and Mexican, and this guy's white because the mom was Mexican and was adopted. This same guy said, remember when Tiger Woods was golfing and this lady said, we should take him back out in the back and hang him?
Yeah.
He said the same thing as a quote-unquote joke. I think we're talking
about a kid? Don't say me.
About my godson, his nephew. And I went home, and this was back in MySpace days. I went home.
You see my leg is shaking?
Yes.
That statement? I
had to message him.
No.
And say, this is what, you shouldn't say stuff like that. First of all, it's a kid. Second of all, it's not funny. It's hella racist, and yada, yada, yada. And he said, and he told me years later, he said, I tried to, look up everything I could to, disprove what you were saying about lynchings and all this kind of stuff, about it happening to white people. And he said, you know what?
Eric is right. They leave that part out. Yeah.
He said, I couldn't find a thing. He said, I couldn't find a thing about white people being lynched as much as I could about black people. And I was like, you could have just fucking apologized instead of trying to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, once again, it's your nephew, and my godson, it's your child. So why would you even say that as a joke? That's just not funny. And so he apologized. But, I mean, he's made other comments since then, and I'm just like, dude, you're an idiot, and you're a bad father and a horrible husband. So anyway, I guess
like just.
Yeah, I do.
Let me just pull out the shotgun.
Do not like that guy. Will not be going to Thanksgiving for them because I can't stand that.
Again, Eric, that's clickbait. Just like the Black Lives Matter thing is clickbait. Not to go back to that subject, but it's the Black Panther Party for protection. People leave that part out. He says that's true. The Black Panther Party for protection of the people, like walking them to school to defend them from other criminals that happen to be black, Latino, or white, no matter what it is. But they got walked to school because of that reason by the Black Panther Party. They were taught like about history and civil rights because they weren't being taught that in school to give them a sense of unity, right? They were given free lunch. They were given empowerment and things like this. So those things were the basis of the Black Panther Party. Just like Black Lives Matter was, we want Black Lives to matter as well. That's the whole statement. That's what sparked the whole movement. And for clickbait, somebody shortened it to hashtag Black Lives Matter. Well, you could
still
think
not offensive.
It's just still not offensive, but it gets under people's skin. And like we were talking about this the other day too, that other night when we were saying the problem is that when you talk to someone about Black Lives Matter, they think that, and from the cops too, and they think that people think that when you say Black Lives Matter and cops should be held accountable for their actions, people think that it's a dig against them personally. We're just telling everyone that it's the justice system. We're not saying that if a white person gets killed by the cops that their life doesn't matter, but more times than not, if a white person is getting killed by the cops, that police is getting fired. That policeman is getting fired.
Unjustly. Now, it's like no one's standing up for any black person who robs a bank, goes on a killing spree.
Exactly, no one said that.
Like the dude Stevie from Cleveland, remember over the summer? Or late in the spring.
Oh, yeah, they went around,
Ain't nobody sticking up for that motherfucker, right?
Like, we swept that one, like, look, let's...
Because it didn't matter, because he killed people. So it's like, even if he was mistreated while being handled, like, ain't nobody sticking up for you. You fucking kill people because you're a simp.
But, the whole argument that also comes up is, well, this person killed somebody. Well, this lady drowned her kids, or this lady did that. She went to jail for that. She's serving life for that, or electric chair, or death penalty. They got their what they deserved or whatever. They got what they deserved for that. Yeah. The thing is, the justice system is allowing people to get off for unjustified killings and murders. And people saying, well, why are you shooting for first degree murder? Well, it doesn't matter what you get. Murder, first-degree murder, manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, like all of these things, we don't care. We just want you to be charged with something. Like, be held accountable for your crimes.
But they can't do it.
They can't do it because it'll show that the justice system's wrong. Like, everything's out of whack. People are mad because they want black people to be complacent, and that's not going to happen.
No, we will not be complacent.
Okay, Angela Davis, give her a black pick. No, but seriously, that's what it is. Like the whole, I wouldn't say that is the same thing. Like the run nigga run thing. Like, we don't want to hear your politics. We just want you to run and play football and basketball. We don't want to hear your opinion. No, it's more than that. It's more than just let's see who, we can put a distraction. We have Oprah. We have Michael Jordan. We have all these other people. These are successful black people. So we're in a post-racial society because of them. And I think about it like this. This isn't anything new. Like back in slavery times, or back in the times of slavery, or before that, and I'm sorry, right after that, you had, like the house Negro, and the overseer was normally black because they listened to him and he can lull them to sleep and tell them, look, just work. The master will take care of us, just work. So those Oprah and Michael Jordan, not saying Oprah and Michael Jordan are those people, I'm just saying they use those people as, look at them, they're doing great, so all of you guys should do it, should be doing great.
Yeah, you can't look at an anomaly as a regular.
Right?
And here's the other thing, I was thinking about this when I was taking a shower. By the way, went to the gym today and worked out for 47 and a half minutes doing the elliptical. So, very proud of myself. First time I've done that. Nice. And as I got home, I was taking a shower. And I thought to myself how people use the, it's almost like people actually believe that black people or other minorities actually can't succeed. I think by the way that they phrase certain things, right? So when it becomes, I can't remember how specifically I was kind of framing it, but there's a certain way people kind of say certain things, and it makes you think, like, wait a second, do you actually believe that all black people typically can't do this? Because, I mean, if you look at it, maybe that's what it is, because they don't acknowledge it. So if you look at the whole scope of people in America, right, and we'll take Latino people, whatever, and if someone says, you know, well, they would be more successful if they would just, and then, you know, be less lazy or whatever word you want to use, right?
No tattoos, don't wear a hoodie. All this crazy thing.
Does that mean that you actually think that most of them are doing that, and that's why they can't get jobs, or they can't do this, or they can't do that in America?
Yeah.
Or if you say black people just need to stop listening to rap music, and that's what the problem is? What about those who don't listen to rap music? Like, you're generalizing. You know what I mean? So does that mean you really think that we're so lowly that we can't figure it out? Mm-hmm. Maybe there really is a problem with the system itself, as opposed to the people in the system.
Yeah.
Well, how come all these other people can succeed? Which other people do you mean? Because if we're looking at a plethora of black people, well, take out all athletes.
Yeah.
That means baseball, that means football, basketball, tennis, and take out every entertainer. Yeah. Now let's talk about successful black people and who you know. Yeah. And if you don't start naming names like Cornel West, you don't start naming names like Michael Eric Dyson. Yeah. You can't just say Neil deGrasse and be like, that's one. Yeah. Because it's science, right? Yeah.
Uber science.
Right. But so, if you don't start naming different names, and, there's only so many names I can name, but still, once you get past, athletics and entertainment, tell me what you know. Yeah. Because if that's the issue, then, well, maybe it's not the people. Maybe it's the system.
Yeah.
Damn. You want to talk about Gordon and his response?
I just like Sean Gray's response with the whole First Amendment and just breaking it all down. I love that response.
I didn't read it because it was so long. It was very TLDR.
I grabbed a glass of milk, almond milk, and I sat there and read that. I'm like, I'm gonna read all this because I want to give him a big hooray. And I didn't believe I didn't like it, but no, I read it all and basically just copied the First Amendment and put his own little sting on the end.
Mm-hmm. He said, "Try again."
Yeah, try again. Yeah. But read his.
Well, there was something else Gordon had responded to as well, and I said, "Nice try. You're not." It may have been on the Black Lives Matter one. It was on the Black Lives Matter one, where he had said something. Gordon had said, and this is not. I'm not trying to diss Gordon. It's just he has a different way of seeing things. Like he
came around on this one though.
Okay,
he came around at the end. He was like, "Okay, I see what you mean." Like he said at the very end.
Okay. Good.
Like my last reply, he was like, "I see what you mean." Like I was seeing it differently.
You actually had an encounter with him before, regarding when Dasha said she didn't have a choice but to date white, different kinds of men in Orange County. He was like, "What is that supposed to mean?" Yeah. And then you guys had to have a discussion. I remember,
that was him. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
same guy. And he was like, "Oh, okay, I see what you mean." But yeah, on the Black Lives Matter one, he had said something about. Goes to a free speech rally, gets a chance to speak their free speech, surprised. And I said, you've done that down, like, oversimplified it. I said, you oversimplified that way too much, because it wasn't a free speech rally. It was a Trump rally.
Yeah, basically they said it.
Yeah, and it was like maybe 9-10 black people on the outside that weren't allowed in initially, obviously because they weren't a part of the rally. Yeah. But then were allowed in. Yeah. And then given the microphone in a respectful way. Yeah. Very respectful, because it sounded like the guy was kind of going to go with a little, like, I don't know, he started to say something, and I was like, is he going to diss him? And he's like, oh, wait, no, he didn't. Okay. And then he let him have 2-3 minutes, whatever. Yeah. And then people actually talked afterwards and got to, take pictures, and I don't know. Maybe it was like photo ops, like, look, I'm not racist. I don't know. But still.
A couple of photo ops were.
I'm sure.
But that one with him holding his son and the guy was right there.
Yeah.
And then he put the red, black, and green flag on.
Oh, the African
and the little kid, yeah. So, like, that was like a moment I was like, see, he just wanted to see his point of view. But all the other ones are definitely photo ops.
Yeah.
But no, but I see I understand. I have a weird way of thinking, but I understand exactly what Gordon was saying. In that, I didn't read his comment, but from what you paraphrased, I know exactly what Gordon was saying. The ironic nature of going to a so-called free speech rally, and then being able to have free speech. See, all white people aren't bad. If you take it a step further,
okay,
and say, see, all Trump supporters aren't bad.
Right.
But not to down it, not to dog it, because it was a beautiful video. I want to challenge the validity of the video, like actors, and whatnot.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I'm gonna have, that's just the investigator in me.
Just take it. Just take it.
Take it as a win. Take it as a win.
Why is it only 9 people?
Right? Yeah.
Just leave it.
Just take it as a win. Take it as a win. Take it as a win. But my other thing about that video was, what if he had one of those moments where this is on camera, so let the black guy get up and talk, and dig his own grave. You know what I mean?
Oh, and it ended up backfiring.
Let it backfire on him, so you can go back and say, Fox News, look what we got here. We got this video. Run with it. Go. But again, the Lake Forest get over. but
yeah. So Gordon's response to this, Kaepernick and the veterans, Nazis and the veterans. He says, all right, I'll be that guy. No one in either of these photos are doing anything wrong under the law. Nazis are scum. I've not seen anyone argue otherwise. Okay. Despite their status as bottom-tier human beings, their right to have shitty ideologies and express those shitty ideologies in public. Same with Kaepernick. Dude expressed his beliefs. I wonder if he knows what they are.
I was thinking the same thing.
Nowhere is it written that his employers have to like his beliefs. His beliefs are actually fact.
I'm on Geronimo and El Toro. Natasha, I don't know if you're close to that.
Oh, I'm like,
she said she hear it too.
Over here.
I'll just put it on camera. We're talking about this. Next thing you know, a whole bunch of Nazi flags
show my God.
Pull up.
It'd be probably people with the high school.
Sorry, guys. If you think that, think again. I'm definitely packing. There's an ammo box right there, and a safe with a gun. So just so you know. Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, I have everything. See that box? There's an ammo box right there.
Oh.
It's got a lock on it, so I don't see the boys playing with ammo.
I was actually wondering what those were.
Yeah.
I see loot crate too. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he actually knows what Kaepernick's beliefs are, but he says nowhere is it written that his employers have to like his beliefs.
Oh, yeah, you're right around the corner.
He works for a private corporation, not the public sphere, and expresses personal ideology on their time and on their dime.
Or down the street, not around.
Sean Gray said, try again.
The cops are on their way.
1942, the Supreme Court said that the First Amendment does not protect fighting words or statements that, by their very utterance, inflict injury or tend to incite immediate breach of the peace. So that would mean Nazis are actually calling for genocide of Jewish people, black people, Mexicans,
Asians,
gay, everybody that's non-white, right?
Yeah.
So they should not have freedom of speech. They, the Nazis. Yeah. And he gives a Chaplinsky versus New Hampshire case, and I'm not going to go all into that.
But go back to what Gordon said. And again, we're not picking on Gordon. We're just picking on ideology.
We're going to show the whole thing, too.
Yeah, we're picking on ideology.
Or talk about it, at least. Yeah.
So this is the part that disturbs me. The whole trigger words. Because, yes, I watch Fox News because, obviously, Art of War, Tao says you have to be close to your enemies. When your friends close, your enemies even closer. So that's the rule I live by. But Gordon's thing was just saying, all right, I'll be that guy. No one in either of these photos are doing anything wrong. Under the law, Nazis are scum. Scum is like one of those dismissive words,
Okay.
Like, oh, don't pay attention to him, he's palm scum. Or he's scum. Or they're scum. Or they mean nothing to you because they're scum. That's a safe, dismissive word, right?
Yeah.
So then I've not seen anyone argue otherwise, despite their status as bottom-tier human beings. Again, another safe term used to describe Nazis, a bottom-tier human being, right?
And then he says same with Kaepernick.
And same with Kaepernick, which threw me off. I didn't get
throws
that.
them all together.
Yeah, throw them all together, like just bottom-tier human beings. Just they're all there, kicking in mud by themselves, playing with mud, getting hepatitis A. So that's what they're doing, And nowhere is it written that employers have to like his beliefs or he works for a party. No, before that. But you say, shitty ideologies in public. So he's saying that just shitty. They're just killing people, calling for the extermination of blacks and Jews. That's that's just
very
shitty
dismissive.
Yeah, it's dismissive.
So what it really is. Okay, I got you.
It's terror. It's terror. It's domestic, homegrown domestic terrorism, and we're dismissive words like shitty ideology, bottom tier human beings. No,
right. We wouldn't say the same thing about ISIS.
Exactly, and they're exactly the same. If not worse. For being unchecked for over 300 years. 300 years.
Do you think that people actually side more with Nazism because they're white?
I'll pick on them, Erickson.
I see that.
I didn't want to read it.
I saw it before and I was like, I'm not I'll call her tomorrow. But do you think people actually side with Nazism not because they support it, but because they're white and they're just used to siding with white folks when it comes to issues of race?
You know what? Previous to the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight, I would say no. But since that fight, I would gotta say yes.
Okay.
Because my whole thing is, people were just on Conor McGregor's side with no proof of like how well he was going to do in the fight, no knowledge of even who he was before Mayweather made him famous in boxing. Like nowhere near,
but yeah,
nowhere near knowing who he was. Just they sided him because he's white. And then my whole thing is, I wasn't siding with Mayweather or Conor McGregor just on the race alone, which I hate that term because I hate race, but on the color of their skin alone, I wasn't siding with him on either one. I was saying, wouldn't you side with the American over the Irishman?
Yeah, but the American beat his wife several times.
Okay, yes.
Then that means you're not going to be watching the NFL.
Yes. You like Blake Shelton, and he dogged out my girl Miranda, so you're gonna look at that.
Yeah.
There's proof that no one that's been swept under the rug because of money, that like they divorced because he cheated on her and abused her, and domestic abuse and violence and all that stuff. But I'm not gonna put his business out in the street.
Yeah,
you still listen to his music. So there's a lot of people out there that have that case, that you have the right to believe them or not. Or you have a right to listen to the music or not.
Well,
I'm not saying I watch it.
Every story.
Yeah, Mayweather's fight, but on boxing alone, if you're a boxing enthusiast, then you side with him for that reason. Because before this whole fight came out, before it was black against white in this Mayweather-McGregor fight, no one knew about him beating his domestic violence cases.
Yeah.
They had to go look it up. And I know that for a fact, because I know a lot of people like, well, I don't know anything about that.
It just becomes this, Tariq Nasheed is a dude I follow on Twitter, and I see his videos and stuff like that. He's very much anti-white supremacy.
Yeah.
And I think he actually interviewed and debated Richard Spencer on his show for a while back.
Yeah.
And it was a very short one, unfortunately, but I thought Tariq was kind of getting in his ass, which I was very much in support of. But Tariq's a little extreme. He's like not as much Dr. Umar, but he's probably next door neighbors with him. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's side with Dr. Umar on a lot of things.
I'm sure.
But now they're kind of having this beef now.
Oh, well.
But
yeah.
Hidden Colors says a lot. Like, just if you've never heard Hidden Colors, you have to buy it. I mean,
I downloaded it. All four of them.
Bro, you're still on the camera.
I'm sorry.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
I don't buy anything because shit costs too much.
Case in point, like the freaking video is like $29. I'm like, come on, Tariq, bro. It's a video. I understand it's 4 hours long. I understand you have to make your money, but $29.99?
4 hours, huh?
The first one is 4 hours long. I think they're all like between 3 and 4 hours long. $29.99, bro. Like that's a lot, but support it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But anyway,
when you get your taxes, I guess.
Back to Gordon. But yeah, I guess he did come around, and I guess he kind of clarified what he meant and came around, and I'm not reading this whole thing or whatever, but
Eric says everyone downloads. I'm no party to this. Support your artists. Support your artists, people.
Yeah. There was another thing too, Brendan Beck, and I think he had to I really had to explain to him that something he didn't understand. I think you kind of pointed out too that he was looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah, he was too. Yeah.
Where was it? And this is and once again, it's not a picking on someone. It's just more of pointing out this is how people think a lot of times, and that's how things get misconstrued and misunderstood because you are focusing on one way of seeing it as opposed to the actual way it's intended to be seen. So he said, how are Nazis okay with World War II vets? That's not,
I didn't read it like that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He saw it that way.
Right, and I can see where he's saying, but this is okay to those vets. Like,
oh, okay. If you put the sentence together.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you said, oh shit, fucking bugs.
It's gone now.
It's like a jungle sometimes,
right? Yeah, all these lights on though.
But he says you're not looking at as intended. He said the picture is saying you, the reader, is okay with the display of the Nazi flag, and not say how disrespectful it is to the vets, like we claim Cap is disrespecting them. They actually fought that flag, but no one is speaking out against it to the magnitude they are with Cap, and how much they swear he's disrespecting the troops. I completely agree. That is exactly what it is. And now I think he kind of gets it, because he didn't know, and I think it's because he's Republican, and I'm just going to assume that because of some things I've seen him post or whatever. But I don't think he knew that when it came to the Nazis and stuff, like, nobody was, like, being negative toward them, really. Yeah. Well, nobody except people from the perceived left, which is funny because if you fight a Nazi, you're on the left. What does that say about the right, then?
See, that's scary to me. That's really scary to me. Mm-hmm. Because I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, like, oh, these leftists are, why aren't you over there fighting the Nazis?
Yeah. Huh? Because when the Charlottesville thing came out, they everybody jumped on that, on the right. They said, oh, all these leftists are coming in, or left-wing liberals or something like that, came in, and they're like, they're inciting violence, they're spitting on, like, the people or protesting. All they're doing is protesting that the statues are coming down and something like that. Like, they're not really exciting their ideas and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They're just protesting the statues.
Yeah.
So all these leftists are coming in to drop bombs on them, and I'm like, you kind of crossed the line there.
Yeah.
You crossed the line there, Like, you really did.
It makes it us versus them. And I'm not even a leftist myself. I'm actually more of a centrist on certain things, so, whatever. But when it comes to issues of, I think, human rights, I'm definitely more of a perceived leftist. Yeah. But I guess I'm more of a humanist like Christ. So anyway. So, yeah, he was kind of confused on some stuff. And I think he actually came around. He said, playing connected dots with random ideals is what creates the gray area. This is, talking about this meme that said connected dots. I will say this. People who say they aren't Nazis did defend Nazis' right to free speech, Charlottesville, etc. Black Lives Matter, Colin Kaepernick, and anti-fascists were not allotted the same expression of free speech by those same non-Nazis who spoke up for Nazis. Yeah. That's what he didn't know. And then he said, if that's the case, which it is, it's unfortunate and hypocritical. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, and then he said,
it's also not who I am. Well, no one's saying that's who you are.
Right?
So.
Everybody always does that. Your ideas have to mesh, or your statements have to mesh with who you are.
Yeah. But it becomes, sometimes, I will say, for people who are a lot more vocal about this thing than that thing, you have every right to say whatever it is you want. But if you're way more matter about a nurse getting arrested at work and not being injured, maybe she was startled, I'm sure, which I don't, I understand. Yeah. But you don't care about the guy who was in traffic who got shot and killed because, he might be a bad guy. He looks like he's up to no good. How can you tell if he's up to no good or not?
Right.
Changing his tire.
Yeah.
Car was stuck in the middle of the freeway because of, Oh, my God. Anyway. I think we're done with this topic. Next topic.
I forgot what the last topic was because, the red pill, blue pill. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay, so I'll just read it. I'm not going to show it because it'll be backwards because this thing's backwards. Which pill would you take? Red pill, blue pill. The red pill represents you restart your life at age 10 with all the knowledge you have right now. You take the blue pill and you jump to 45 years old with $50 million in the bank. I misread this when I first posted it. And I forgot my joke from the original when I said it like an hour ago. Anyway, when I first read this, I thought it said jump 45 years ahead. So I thought, well, then I'll be like 85.
And then you wouldn't be able to
do a lot of coke that fast. Do that many hookers in a matter of days.
In a matter of days before you pass away. Yeah.
Because 85 is old as shit.
Yeah.
Even with 50 mil, like that's what am I gonna do with 50 mil at 85?
Yeah.
So
he retracted his statement about going backwards.
No.
No?
I still think I would go backwards because, and I think Joe Ader pointed this out when he posted his responses. You can bet on so much. The lottery, every NFL, NBA, MLB, 1908 Chicago Cubs. Dude.
I wasn't born then. I was 10.
But I'm talking about 108 years later. Bruh.
So I gotta wait. I gotta be 10. I gotta wait 30 years just to bet on them?
Nigga, you waited 30 years anyway.
You gotta wait. Here's the point.
And now you can make money from it.
Here's the point. I believe in my boy, so don't get it wrong. Don't get me twisted. But
Michael Lee, Mission Viejo.
Eric said Hefner money, man.
Hefner money.
No comment. Cryogenic. Christina is tripping.
He just went from Christ-like to Hugh Hefner. Sorry, Jesus.
I know, he said, yeah. You did do that, though. You did go there.
I do it all the time. I'm so imperfect.
See, everybody's saying, like, this is my whole thing. The red pill thing. Okay, I'm
red pill.
Like, okay, I'm a kid. I was born in the late 70s, so I'm an 80s baby. Like, I'm an 80s kid. I don't know how that works out. I'm a 70s, 80s baby. I go off of movies. Haven't any of you guys seen Back to the Future? Haven't any of you guys seen Butterfly Effect? Like, any of these movies, you can't go back. You can't go back. You can't change things.
I think you can. I think you can.
You can't go back, bro. You can't change things. Everything I went through, like, seriously, bro. Like, I've had some issues in my life where I went left when everybody wanted me to go right, and I wouldn't be here right now. I don't want to maneuver through that again.
I think you're gonna miss your kids' 5 years of your kid's life for 50 mil. You're telling me that your kid's life and memories are worth?
I know. I imported. No. Listen to me. I thought about that, and I have a fail-safe for that.
Okay.
They're going to be in 5th grade, bro. They're going to be 10 and 9. They're going to be 10 and 9. Actually 10 and 11. They're going to be 10 and 11. They're not going to hit junior high school yet. Mm-hmm. So I can catch them at 10 and 11 with what I've imparted in them right now. They're on autopilot right now, bro.
Have you ever seen Click?
That's another thing.
Because I just thought of that just now.
That's another thing.
You skip forward a lot, and then you're like, oh shit, I've missed my life.
Yeah, you did. But you're talking about fast forwarding 5 years. I can deal with 5 years.
What about them? Would they want you to go forward 5 years?
They won't remember a thing. They'll be it'll just be autopilot. And if anything's going wrong, I can correct it. Yeah, I can correct it.
He was just like,
They can homeschool.
Where is it?
He said, where is it?
I saw it fly over there.
It went all the way over there. So.
Oh, okay.
They can homeschool, brother.
I don't know, dude. Okay, because really, if I were to go backwards, I would be betting.
I don't care. See, this is the thing. See, Eric made a good point. Everybody's making this point about you can be Google, you can have Facebook, you can do all of this stuff.
Yes.
You're 10, bro. Who's telling you? You know what? There's a thing you can log on the internet and like tell everyone. Like you can
but
create
I'm 10.
Google.
It'll be 1987.
You can't create Google.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm not gonna create it. I'm gonna invest.
Intel's chips isn't available yet for you to even think about Google.
I don't need them to look. I'm taking the knowledge I have now of everything.
So you know how to create an Intel microchip so you can be able to create
I don't know
Google
how to do that
and
now.
a processor. Exactly.
That's not what I'm saying.
So if you're 10,
I'm saying I'm going to invest in these things when they come out in the market. Like Nike. Could you imagine Nike stock in 1987?
So I'm going to be poor until I'm 19 and I can invest in this stuff?
Nigga, you're poor now!
That's the point I'm trying to make. So I could care less about $200 million. I don't need $200 million. I can jump to 5 years and get my 50. Give me my 50, bro. Like, I don't want $500 million. I can care less.
Why not? Do you know how much you could do for the black community with $500 million?
Nothing.
You sell out.
I can't do anything. Cat
so
Williams said, only thing $500 million is going to do is make Cadillac the #1 car dealer in the world. That's the only thing $500 million is going to do for the black community.
75 million record companies have just opened up.
Right? That's the only thing that money is going to do. Right? That's the only thing that money is going to do. The only thing that money is going to do.
So mean.
I'm serious. Ideology, Stockholm syndrome, what slavery's done to the psyche, to the pineal gland, to what it's done to us. We need a correction before we do that. Like, case in point, I had this conversation with my mom. Like, I had really deep conversation with my mom. She's deep anyway, but she goes to school for sociology and psychology. So we like have these deep conversations, and half the time it's over Facebook Messenger. So I like have to go back and like get my life, you know? Yeah. Like, what were we talking about then? And I start crying, like, okay, I can't read that. Let's put that away. So we had this thing, and she was like, yeah, about the black community needs to return to God and return to this and return to that. And usually when she says something, I kind of like, I'm putting my mom on the spot right now. Is it black banks? Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, we could invest in black banks.
Yeah.
We could be a black bank.
So then, I'll be collecting all my fees from overdraft fees because, you know.
Well, maybe we don't need to do that.
I'm just messing. Okay, so my whole thing is like, her thing was, okay, well, you know, black people are suffering. The black community is suffering because they need to return to God, return to church, you know, the Bible, more God-based life instead of like where we are. So, and you know, and I'm like, yeah. Usually, I just like grab the good in the conversation, and then wrap my mind around the good in the conversation. And then take it from there and take the ideology about the spirit what you're understanding, yes, and compound on it. Yeah. But I was feeling some type of way. I think I just had like a bad call or something like that. So I wasn't dogging on my mom, but I was like, Mom, I understand what you're saying. And yes, the ideology of focusing on a God, focusing on higher power, if it's Jesus or whatever, like wherever route you take, is good for anyone because it gives you a base and a center in life. Yes, a rush card. Stop it. He's just killing me. The old rush card with the 20% APR and you charge you $1 every time you use it. Oh, the whole little debit card that Russell Simmons had.
I had a regular. Oh, I've heard of those.
Yeah, the money pit.
Oh shit, my wife is watching. Hi Melissa. Hi baby.
So that whole thing.
Cupcaking.
So when my wife was telling me, I was like, no, Mom, to be honest, it's not true. I can't believe that's true. I can't believe that that's the answer. Not to say that God is the answer, but I can't believe that's the answer. Because back in slavery times, black people had a profound belief in God and relying on, you know, Wade in the Water, Amazing Grace, all that came out of those times. And we were being feet chopped off, hands chopped off, you know, lynched and all that during that time. And we weren't ahead then. Not to saying that prosperity and God go hand in hand. I'm just saying we didn't have that release and that freedom as a whole, as a people then, when we had a more profound faith in God.
Yeah, but faith in God is not going to fix it.
The one who needs the faith in God is the oppressive judicial system that's oppressing the people, and the people need to have a sense of who they are before they have a sense of spirituality. And if I learned nothing growing up as a kid in church, I learned that you have to lead from the example of Jesus. No matter if you believe in him or not, Jesus always did one thing first. He made sure the people were straight before he preached. And no one can debate on not one time in the Bible that he didn't give the people, feed the people, or he didn't meet the needs of the people before he preached. The loaves and the fishes. He fed them before he preached to them.
Yeah.
The lady issue of blood. He went to preach. He healed her issue of blood before then. The other Lazarus who was in the water, who was crippled, he made the disciples put him in the water first to heal him before he preached. Before he went with the tax collector, I forgot the guy's name, the tax collector, the short guy, whatever, went to his house because he invited him to his house.
The guy that was up in the tree?
Yeah, and the guy was up in the tree, told him to come down, or they did bring the guy down that was in the house that was crippled.
Yeah.
Heal him first before he preached. He met their needs because without... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm like shaking the camera, banging on the table. So without meeting the needs of the people, without needing people, they can't focus on spirituality. They can't focus on the greater good. They can't focus on giving if you can't meet what's in front of their face.
That's good.
And for black people being we're a demographic, people don't understand that the black community, we're American. We identify with Americans, but we are the youngest community on the face of this earth. Right?
Oh, because
we came out of a mesh of the indigenous Africans that were already here, the ones that came from Africa, the Caribbean, and then mixing with the Native Americans already here created who we are. Like that created who we are. The mixing, the breeding, the killing off the weak ones, creating the strong ones, obviously that's translated into sports now. But that person that's created as a black community now didn't get a healing. Slavery ended, we're just pushed out there.
Yeah.
Just pushed out there. This is how you do it.
Literally. Yeah.
Use this example and do it. But that's not how it works. Like, we didn't get a healing. You know, then you got preachers want to follow the example of Christ, but then they want to say, okay, you want to follow the example of, you know, it's about tithes and about money, and it's about taking care of what's yours and being good stewards. Yes, that's all good. But you got to understand, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they all had their own different accounts of that. And not all the books talked about being a good steward with your money. They didn't talk about all the parables the same way. They had their own spin on the parables. Even though the parables were Jesus' words, they had their own spin on the parables. But if you look at it word for word, no one ever miscued or interpreted in their own words how Jesus healed the people first and fed the people first before he preached to them.
Yeah.
Those scriptures in every single book in the Gospels never changed. They were exactly the same.
Always in that order.
Always in that order. Always in that time slot. Always, and then it was from the disciples' account of what they saw, supposedly, that was in their account. But they all saw that the same. But nothing else they saw the same. Everything else was interpreted different. Even the words that came out of Jesus' mouth were interpreted differently.
Well, because it's actual, like, this happened first, this happened second, this happened third.
Exactly.
Versus, I understood what he... Like, because even if I could repeat something that you said from an hour ago, I'm probably paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly what you said.
Exactly.
But I do remember you getting up before that and showing that you had your gray and your black and your black.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So I can remember that. Yeah, but it reminded me, as you were talking about, how people need to be fed first and all that kind of stuff. The basic needs. Okay, so there's a... I can't remember his name. Is it Abraham Maslow?
And we have on Nikes. This is crazy.
Son of a bitch.
We're still here.
Stop bumping the table.
It wasn't an earthquake. We're still here.
Stop bumping the table.
Even though I felt a little shake earlier.
That was me. I fell out of bed.
You know the world's going to end in September
23rd, right?
Yeah. 2 more days. So.
Yeah, just like it was supposed to in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Got it. But Maslow's hierarchy of needs, on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like the very first things you need are the physiological needs, which is rest, warmth, food, and water.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're not getting rest, that means you're not getting sleep, right? Saying you're too crazy in your home, in your neighborhood. Maybe you live in the Middle East and there's bombs going off all the time, right? Maybe
go back to the Middle East.
You need warmth, which means, I think, actual physical warmth. I mean, shit, could you live in Alaska, bro? I couldn't either. Food and water. If you're homeless, you need these things met first before you can feel the next level, which is safety needs, security and safety.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to have the roof over my head. I need to have doors on my walls. You know what I mean? I need to have walls too, right?
Right. Like, let's start with the top, right?
And then we get into belonging and loving needs, right? We get into intimate relationships and friends. If I don't have a house and I don't have food and water and rest, I'm not going to care about my friends.
Yeah.
I need to sleep before I need to hang out with you.
Yeah.
I was supposed to see one of my kids on Sunday, and I drove to and from Chula Vista in the same day.
Yeah.
I left at like 3 and then came back at like 3.
You're a bad man.
I was, and I freaking fell asleep and woke up at like 10, and he was like, "Are we hanging out today?" I said, "I'm too tired. I need to see you Friday." And that's what happened. Because before I needed to see him, I needed my rest. I needed rest. And it wasn't anything, bad about him. It was just I was exhausted. But that's how we need our physiological needs met first. Just like kind of how your mom was saying too. Like it's not so much about Jesus first as much as it is about I need to get fed first.
Yeah, and then I found her thing, and I'm not like picking on my mom because she's,
It's okay, I'll pick on her.
She
just kidding.
Hey, I have none. I'm not responsible for anything Miss Olivia does to you. Next time she sees you, she never forgets. Never forgets. So her thing was, she sent me this video, and the guy was talking about black on black crime, and I was just saying that black on black crime, as an epidemic, as a problem, is a myth. Every race on race crime statistics are pretty much the same. And then she said the bottom line is it's going to take a turning back to God in repentance. And then she gave a scripture, 2 Chronicles 7:14, and following verses.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is statistically I saw this, and I was like, I'm just going off of what I read, but the numbers of people that identify with Christianity has risen for almost every race. And guess whose numbers are higher than anyone's? Yes, people that identify with being African American. Their identity with being Christians has risen in the last 40 years. Record numbers. Again, there's more education, more black men are going to college, higher college rates, more millionaires have been created in the last 10 years than has created since the beginning of the United States, like black millionaires and other millionaires, and homeowners. Less kids are identifying with illicit drug use. At a certain age, there's a certain drug community that's out there, but they're not saying that that's them. So black people have Stockholm Syndrome. We need to see God, and they need the oppressor to truly turn to God as well. We went through slavery, Jim Crow, segregation, black codes, redlining, police brutality, but the common denominator in all of this is a justice system that allowed this to happen. And so that's like where I left it. And then she says, that's all well and good, but if we as a nation of people turn back to God, turn back to the God of the Bible and begin to practice what it says, this will get better. Things will get better. We have to put hatred and the like behind us and press on into love that comes from God. True. Put hatred behind you because you harbor hate in your heart. You can't heal yourself. That is true. And they said, I never doubted that, but most people in America have never served God truly in America. They don't know what they are returning to. America wasn't founded in God or on God. In God we trust wasn't on the money until the 70s. Separation of church and state, and statement that the church will never control government again because that's what they ran from in England. They ran from the church and then started working with the church only after the church agreed to fund the slave trade. So remember, they started working with the prince or the emperors of England, of Spain, only when they decided to fund the drug trade or the slave trade. The slave trade. So sorry about that. So words do matter in American government, they say. Justice is blind, they say. But we have hundreds of laws that were based on color and class. That was never what Jesus intended. Our very fabric in America has never been based on Christian beliefs. America has never had a humbling to look at God. America needs to know true humanity as those are God's principles: faith, love, compassion, giving, seeing the good in your brother. We don't understand basic principles of spirituality and human kindness. It's sad, really. So when I hear a lot of preachers, a lot of other people say, like, America needs to turn to God, turn back to God. I'm like, turn back to what? Like, most of them were Masons and atheists. And they didn't want the church inserting themselves in America, American beliefs. Yeah. That is totally true. So what are they returning back to? The spirit of America needs a spiritual basis, but we're returning to something that we never knew. So in that respect, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about that? Like, we have the Bible, we have churches, we have spiritual organizations, but what does it truly mean to know God?
Yeah.
Case in point, it's heavy, but case in point, the whole hurricane thing with Joel Osteen, like pressuring him to open up the church. Even though he didn't open up his church for whatever reason, it was ingrained in our heads that we have all these huge mega churches around the world, and we have all this homelessness. So it wasn't about him opening up the churches. It was the fact of the matter is we have all these homeless people and we have all these churches. They should be in these churches. They should be there no matter what. before the hurricane hit, before tornadoes hit, before earthquakes hit.
Not wait to be asked.
Not wait to be asked
by the city. Like
exactly.
Like there was other places, like there was a mattress place or something like that, a bedding place, like a Bed Bath and Beyond type place that that didn't wait. They're like, we're just gonna open up and
right.
You come as you need.
Exactly. We're just the doors are open no matter what.
Yeah. But yeah, I think even if we return to God, I think that's actually a fallacy. I don't think we've ever been with God as far as a country as a whole. Where, I mean, in taking it back to the very first topic with Black Lives Matter and people saying, we're not taxing churches, Eric. They're not a business. You tax businesses, not churches.
What's you mean? Maybe you have a toddler.
I don't know.
Did she hear a baby crying? Are we that close to each other?
I don't know what happened.
I heard a baby crying, and she says maybe you have a toddler.
Oh, no, his toddlers are grown now.
Grown, 5 and 6. They're so grown.
They're grown as hell.
They take over.
But I can't remember what I was saying.
Yeah.
We've never had that, and so yeah, back to what I was saying before is that basically, if you have in this country, just like with the people who at the Trump rally and the Black Lives Matter people out there saying, disagreeing with the guy and booing the guy for saying this is happening to us.
Yeah.
No, shut up.
Yeah.
How's that respectful in the eyes of Christ?
Yeah.
It's not. Even if you disagree, like there's a different way to disagree. I know it's free speech, but free speech should not trump Christ-like following.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Should never. I actually had this discussion kind of the other day with a buddy of mine. He's an atheist, hardcore atheist. It's funny, the atheists usually love to go after the church, but they never go after Muslims. But anyway, or Jewish people, which is weird. But I mean, I'm not hating, but it's just anyway. They're very selective.
Oh no, I need rest regardless of having a toddler.
Oh, but he said something about. Oh shit. He said something about. Oh damn! I just forgot my point.
Who?
It was an atheist buddy of mine.
Oh,
Said something. We were talking about the church. I forget what it was. Now I gotta look it up. Crap. Oh, this is not gonna work, is it? Hold on, I'm almost there.
Yeah, but with that whole thing, it's like I don't think atheism is a religion in its own.
It's becoming one.
But it is becoming one, like far as what people talk about. Like it's becoming an ideology. But I think that to look at it as a whole, I think Osteen had a point when he was saying, like, and I'm not like saying I agree with him 100%, but he had a point when he said, look, there's a proper procedure when it comes to doing things. But the people on the outside, all they cared about was safety, like we said about like the principles of of life, the basic principles of life have to be met first. Mm-hmm. We don't care about the government or the city or ideology or a proper procedure. You have a house of God and there's homeless people or there's people that lost their home. Figure it out, sort it out later. Sort out the legalities later. Sort out the city issues later. Just open up your house of God.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that, he's getting lambasted because he's not following, what we consider, true humanism is. And being Christ-like to Christians is the same thing as being human. You have to be human in order to operate in this realm that we're operating in. Because this is all most people know. This is all we know. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I don't know if he took it down or I just can't find it anymore. But yeah, I can't remember what it was, and I lost my train of thought. I think because I'm tired. I think you're tired. We're both tired, and we'll probably end the show on that.
Wonder Twins, activate.
Form of night.
Form of night.
I'm still trying to find it, and I can't even find it. Unbelievable. Yeah,
definitely.
I can't find it. Whatever. Anyway, we thank the remaining two of you. Oh, Ariel just jumped on. Hi, Ariel. We used to go out in high school. I used to try to She was my girlfriend.
Artists go after Christians like Trump. Yeah, I have to agree.
Oh, artists like what? Rage Against the Machine?
I think you meant atheists. Is that what you meant, atheists or artists? Like.
Oh, thank you, Natasha. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I don't know if he'll be back next week.
I know, I'm getting booted.
Well, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe we should do the politics stuff, and then me and Ashley could do like relationship stuff.
Whatever works.
And then I just go back and forth between two different.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You know, just me and black people talking about stuff.
Good night, Eric.
Good night, everybody.
Teamwork makes the dream work. Atheist, I knew it was what you meant. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'm going to bed, and I'm not going to bed with him. So, peace out. See you guys.
Suggestive.
Black power.